there was problems with how the referee was run under the previous regime.
Oh,
There was talk of bullying and stuff, and then there was a talk of maybe a switch the other way, or maybe just not giving the same support to the experienced guys whilst they were too busy nurturing the young guys and that sort of stuff as well. So in the following regime, so there's kind of we lost a lot of experienced refs through that process as well as through some of the abuse they get. I think if the players start showing more respect, the referees will enjoy refereeing the games a lot more and enjoy their interactions with the players a lot more, and the fans don't really then come into any of that.
no.
And laying down a heavy ban for Dawson Jones, I think, would be the right thing to do. Referees have become very quick to turn instances of dissent into penalties from scrums. There was, Ben Failer did it at the weekend. He did it last week as well. I think, if I'm right, Chris Kendall pulled up one as well and did that. It might not have been Chris Kendall. There was one in our game as well. Robert Hicks did it in our game, and I think that's all good because it's just it's trying to nip it in the butt, and I just want our referees to get support from the governing body and those sorts of things as well, and from the general fan base. And it was good to see the praise that some of the referees were getting in general this weekend, even though obviously the people who support either team either way might get a bit more emotionally involved. I sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of said Hicks was rubbish on Saturday when I had a few beers in me, but to be honest, there's calls that could have gone differently, but I certainly don't think match officials determined any of these games, despite what people might feel.
Yeah.
So the semi-final doubleheader, 5th of August at Macron Stadium in Bolton, or Horwich Parkway. St Helens versus Catalan is the first game up. That'll be the opening fixture at 12:30, I think, kick-off, and then at 3:15 kick-off, I believe it is, Warrington versus Leeds. They might want to look at that because these cup games, with all the cards and injuries that we've been seeing in these cup games this year, have been pushing on for beyond 2 hours a pop. But Warrington versus Leeds is the second game there. So something exciting to look forward to. I've bought a ticket to go to the doubleheader in any case, even though Wigan aren't there. So I'll be going to enjoy the action. I hope lots of neutrals do, as well as people get out and support the teams.
Yep.
Okay, one Super League game to cover as well in this section. And it was played on Friday night. It was Hull Kingston Rovers 14, Castleford 42. 28-4 at half-time to Castle, so kind of probably won it in that first half there. 7,074, so James Child referee this one. We had a couple of views in on this one.
Yep, Tim G says, Casa champions of the Roger Millward Trophy. Shame we couldn't get up for this after last week's performance. Sure, the main bright spot from the Radio Humberside commentary.
Fatboy Rob said, the champions obviously means of the Roger Millward Trophy. Best performance of the season with 8 tries, including 4 from the wingers, and 1 of the tries of the season. Eden was flawless at fullback. Ellis had his best game of the season. McShane put in his usual top draw performance, and Shenton was back to his best back in the centres. The only complaint was the kebab house had run out of forks. Sort it out, RFL. Yeah, no leadership, Rob. There's no leadership.
No, yeah, I mean, I was disappointed that Rovers couldn't, do the decent thing and beat Castleford.
I certainly think that there's still a lot of inconsistency in this Rovers side, and
there's a lot of people unhappy about team selection. Sheen's rejigged quite a lot of team from the team that had beaten Wigan, and not for injury issues, just I don't know why.
Well, I'm just looking through the team. Ryan Shaw didn't play against Wigan, but Justin Carney did, didn't he? And he picked up an injury in that game and broke his hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kieran Moss, I don't think played against Wigan.
I'm not sure.
But, Tommy Lee and Maurice Blair, I think that was the same.
Didn't Chris Atkins play in the halves?
Chris Atkins came off the bench in the game against Wigan and played most of it at hooker like he did in this game, so played pretty similarly. Okay. So I'm struggling to see too many differences if from what I can see.
Danny Addy and Will Dagger.
Will Dagger played in the half instead of Tommy Lee. That's correct. He played standoff rather than Tommy Lee. That is the change in those positions. Yeah.
I can't find the team list. Sorry.
No, good shout though. Will Dagger did play against Wigan.
Because everyone said he had such a good game, and then the Sheens went back to putting Maurice Blair in the halves.
It's Tommy Lee, I think.
Oh, well, whichever of it was.
Either of them, anyway. Yeah. Well, Maurice Blair, though, has played pretty well in the games I've seen. I just think that they're an inconsistent side, and Castleford are probably an inconsistent side too. But the talent levels in Castleford are much higher than they are at Rovers. And so from the highlights I've seen, they did score a couple of cracking tries, and they were back to getting tries on both wings. It was very reminiscent of the start of last season. They won games in the first 20 minutes. They got both wingers into space and scoring tries, and they were back to that in this game. So that'll be exciting for Castleford fans potentially.
Yeah, and it was another match where there were complaints about abuse of the referee.
Well, you get that all the time at Rovers. I mean, there's not a backwards pass that the opposition
proper abuse of the referee by fans.
Oh, right, okay.
Homophobic chants. Maybe not chants, but he screams at the referee and things.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't pick up any of those things. That is bad to hear. I hope that gets dealt with properly. Then there are a few really loud voices that come over on the radio commentaries and stuff like that at Hull KR from where they're positioned, and certainly cause quite a racket, and none of it is ever positive, and most of it's offending the referee in some way, shape or form.
Apparently very, very bad abuse of child.
Well, it's just totally not on. I mean, we'll go through the stats, and this will tell you why. This will tell you one of like a big factor. Like Hull KR fell under 1,000 metres and had less than 90% team tackle success. So there you go. That's from a stat point of view. If you're a regular listener to SLP, you know that you're not going to win a game with serving up crap like that. So it's not right to blame it on the referee. Castleford made 8 more clean breaks, 13 in total, and had 1.7 metres per carry better average gain, and nearly 550 more metres than their hosts. Individually, Michael Shenton with a try assist, 5 tackle was 120 metres, 2 clean breaks, so back to his best in the centre, like Rob said. Greg Eden played fullback in this one. He grabbed a try assist, 8 tackle was 130 metres and 2 clean breaks. Mike McMeekin had 167 metres, Grant Millington 140 metres, 3 successful offloads for him. Ryan Shaw with 2 tries was one of the better performers for the Hull Kingston Rovers, and Aaron Smith, who played at hooker, 41 tackles and 11 of which were mark tackles, and he's a little kid, he's only a young lad and he's not a big fella, so big shift from him, so well done to him. In terms of the standings, that win takes Cass into 4th ahead of Hull FC, and Hull KR stay 11th. Okay, and in terms of the more important standings, the standings we're all waiting to hear, in the predictions, I went 2 out of 5 this weekend, and the co-hosts, Tim gave the predictions for the team of co-hosts last week, went 3 out of 5. That has closed the gap now. It's 63 to me, 62 to the co-host, so it's getting exciting as the regular season approaches crunch time.
Yep.
That's the more important standings.
Clearly.
Other results time now, and just to remind everyone, the sponsorship is available for this section of the show, and kind of across Championship and League One there was catch-up games going on. So it was round 5 getting caught up for Batley and Halifax won that 32 points to 18 away from home. That moved them into 3rd position in the table, so a really important win for them. Their Fev drop out of that all-important top 4. In a round 2 catch-up game, a repeat of one of the Summer Bash fixtures, but not a repeat of the scoreline. Swinton fell 25 points to 18 at home to the Rochdale Hornets. So that keeps Rochdale in touch with the top and puts Swinton back on the bottom of the table there. In League 1 round 2, it was Hunslet 39, Whitehaven 32. Maybe a little bit of an upset, but those teams are very closely pitted together at in the table. Round 1 catch-up was West Wales 20, Newcastle 82. So good to get 20 points on the board for West Wales. Like you mentioned earlier, Sarah, they were 10-0 up at one stage in this one. Then a round 11 fixture, Oldham, who are in really good nick against Doncaster. This was an important game, really, because the two teams that are very close together in the table. This has moved Oldham up into third position. In the women's game, it was the Challenge Cup this weekend, so some of the clubs that we're going to name here aren't clubs we've talked about a lot this season so far. It was Barrow 62, Brighouse 10. The Brighouse Rangers ladies were a team that we ran into on my stag do for a Challenge Cup weekend 3 years ago now, so I do hold a soft spot for those girls. So shame that they couldn't get a win over Barrow, but good to see them getting a mention on SLP. St Helens ladies, their first game at the totally wicked stadium, they won 78-0 against the Hull FC ladies. Now obviously Hull aren't in the same division as St Helens at the moment, so that they're a work in progress, aren't they?
Yeah, they got their first league win last week.
Hull Wyke 0, Army RL 84. So our armed forces getting some good representation in the Women's Challenge Cup. York 68, Widnes 0. That was again another Super League side against a Championship side. So not a huge surprise on the result there. It was Lee -6, Wigan Warriors 72. So the Wigan Warriors ladies go marching on. Another bit of good news for Wigan from the weekend. Very few and far between. We're going to cling on to them all when we find them. It was Leeds 58, Wakefield 0. Although Wakefield actually kept the top of the Super League side, Leeds, competitive for the first 20 minutes or so. And Wakefield also aren't in the Super League in the women's competition. So that was pretty good effort from them before Leeds got it together. Bradford 14, Castleford 32. This is two Super League sides, and Castleford have got three of the best players, it seems, in this division. I've not seen a great deal of them. I saw a few clips from this game along the way, and they scored. Katie Hepworth scored one of the tries. It was a cracking team try. They've got Tara Stanley at fullback as well. I think her name is, who's a very good player too. So good win for Castleford there. And it was finally Featherstone, the last of the Super League sides, against Stanningley. It was 38 points to 12 there to the Super League side. Featherstone. Into the NRL, it was round 13, a very reduced round 13 ahead of Origin this week. It was the Sea Eagles 12, the Cowboys 26, and we had a review in from Cowboys fan Karsten.
Yeah, he said 12-26, and JT showed DCE why he is not a rep player. #1 in a row.
Rabbitohs 22, Sharks 14. George Burgess had 123 metres. His return to form continues. Tom Burgess, though, outdid him. 2 tries and 140 metres for him. So the Burgess twins are getting it going, moving towards the international break. It was the Eels 4, the Knights 30, and the Roosters 16, West Tigers 14. And what I hear was an absolute thriller as well. So we had another thrilling game on Sunday's schedule that we got to enjoy as Rugby League fans. We had some other results in from around the game as well. Do you want to take us through the first of those that we got in, Sarah?
So, yeah, it was Brixton Bulls ladies versus Nottingham Outlaws. And Dr. Hideous said, this was the Brixton ladies' first game, and it showed in their hesitant tackles and running into contact, slow and uncertain passing, and lack of knowledge of the laws. Nevertheless, as the game progressed, they became a lot more confident. The ref, who also officiated the earlier men's match, did a good job of clearly communicating what his decisions were and why. Good support from a small crowd of about 30 people.
Brixton Bulls versus Medway Dragons, which will have been the men's game that Dave referred to. Dave Cantrell again got in touch on this one. He said, at first the Dragons had all the ball, but errors prevented them from turning it into points. On 20 minutes, a 70-metre break and try by the Bulls' right wing, Ugo Onjei, gave his team back their mojo. Despite only having 12 men for almost 20 minutes, they kept their 4-0 lead at the break. The second half was one-way traffic with 5 more Bulls tries and just 1 for the visitors. Final score 28-4 and 2 burgers for my breakfast.
The important things.
Exactly.
Stanningley Academy against Dewsbury Moor Maroons, I think finished 22-20 to Stanningley Academy. And Carsten said, that was a really good and exciting game of grassroots footy, including a red card and a sin bin for Stanningley. Both teams played a good level of league, but Stanningley closed the game down with 11 players. Stanningley Digital TV showed that rugby league is a great sport even on this level, so please give them a watch on YouTube.
Yeah, good stuff there. Okay, that's all the results from the last week in rugby league. well and truly covered. We're going to move now on to make our no doubt awful predictions for the next round of Super League and our games of the week in the Championship and League One. Right, preview and predictions time